Hello and welcome to the first ever devlog of this game. Because this is my first public video, I think I should introduce myself first. So, my name is Luki. I come from Central Europe, as you can probably hear in my voice. I can't properly pronunciate some English words, but otherwise I think I am not that bad at English. I can speak English, German and Russian, but do not ask me to say a sentence in Russian because I'm not very good at it. And I can play the piano a little bit. You may know me for my very popular game Test Game 01, which released on itch.io I think 2 years ago now. And I would be surprised if you don't know the game because it's just that popular. And yeah. Okay, quick interruption. I just wanted to say that the thing with Test Game 01 being popular was obviously a joke, but I've just recently found out after 2 years of the game being released that I can actually see the analytics on itch.io, how many people have seen the game and downloaded it. And the game has like 500 views. Like, what? 500 views? And 50 downloads. I don't even know 50 people. I know like 5 people. But like, what? What? It's just insane to me. Yeah, just wanted to brag a little bit. Thank you for listening to me. My interests are basically all types of philosophy. And I don't mean it in a way like I read all kinds of philosophy books and I know this and that philosopher personally. But I mean like a game design way. This is why I'll get to it later, but I want to become a game developer. This is why I'm making this devlog, obviously. And I think it's just extremely interesting how you can like manipulate the player into doing things, thinking things, all kinds of stuff, just with like designs, color theory, music, sound design. It's just so interesting to me. One thing I also really like is figuring out what kind of origins different kinds of things have, or why they were designed a certain way, which you will maybe be able to tell in a further devlog, because I like analyzing like games and art and all that kinds of stuff to figure out how it was made and why it was made a certain way. And I just think that's really interesting. So let's go on to my hobbies. I really love 3D modeling in Blender specifically. I've learned different programs like Animator, like the 19 whatever program, which is really old, but it can render in a really interesting way, which you can also simulate in Blender, but I still think it's fun to learn different programs. And obviously I also like making games. That's why I'm doing this devlog. So my goals for this everything is obviously, like I said, I want to become a game developer because I like programming and computer stuff ever since I was like, I don't know, too small to probably even be on the internet. But I also want to do all this creative stuff, like make music, make art, 3D modeling, and designing things and coming up with ideas and writing a story and stuff. And with game development, I can just do all of those things that I like. So obviously, I want to become a game developer. Also, one of my goals is that my mom has like a hearing, not disability, but for 20 years now, she has like this constant white noise in her ears. And it's very, like, I can't even imagine how uncomfortable that must be. So I want to earn enough money just to treat this for her, because I think that would be very nice. I don't know. One of my other goals, which is pretty obvious, is making other people happy, because who doesn't like that? And one of the most important goals is getting my stories out, because you can't even imagine how many ideas I have in my head. I come up with something while I'm going somewhere, and then it pans out into this whole universe in like 5 minutes, and I think at least one of those stories is pretty interesting. So I obviously want to make multiple games with multiple stories to see which one sticks. Another goal is I want to learn and improve new skills and myself. that sentence didn't make sense at all, because learning myself sounds like something I probably shouldn't do. But yeah, you probably know what I mean. And I would like to make more videos, not like because I want to become a YouTuber and live in like a content creator house or something, but because I think it's really cool just researching things or being creative and sharing that and maybe positively affecting someone. Another goal of mine is that I want to make music and art and all kinds of creative things that I'm actually proud of, because now I'm making something and then the end result is I'm not really proud of that. That's also why I'm posting this video, because I want to force myself to share the things I do so I can improve and I can get feedback if anyone writes feedback in the comment section. That would be very, very appreciated. Because like I mentioned, this is my first public video, so you get to know me, so I will talk about my favorite games, which obviously vary. I keep on saying obviously, I need an obviously counter, please. These games inspired me a lot, so I'm just going to list my favorite games. This is not in any particular order. So, Red Dead Redemption 2, Stanley Parable, Celeste, Boneworks, Portal 2, I love Portal 2, Subnautica, Undertale Yellow, the fan game, then Phasmophobia is really fun with friends, and first time playing was extremely scary. Mouthwashing, I just love the way they portrayed the story in that game, and how the narrator you basically play as in the game isn't very reliable. And I think that's just so interesting that I haven't really seen in other games. I love Peggle. I could play Peggle all day, every day. Danganronpa, the Danganronpa series is pretty interesting. It's weird, but in like a funny way, but also sometimes not in a funny way. I don't know. Next on, I will talk about... Okay, so me being the genius that I am, I forgot to explain what the game is even supposed to be, which, is pretty important for a devlog about making a game. So I'll just talk over this boring part of the video and explain what the game is going to be, so what the goal is. So I got the idea after finishing the Subnautica 2 early access, and I wanted more of the satisfying gameplay loop and the story and world that becomes more disturbing and scary the more you progress. Then I started writing a document with all the things that would maybe be cool. Currently, it's kind of like a 2D Subnautica with more variety and more focus on the story, with hopefully equally as disturbing but good environments. I'm a one-man team right now, so please cut me some slack. You can find black boxes, old buildings, craft stuff, move through space and all that kind of stuff while uncovering the secrets of humanity and the universe. So I'll let you watch the video in peace now. Any feedback is greatly appreciated. Thank you. Woo. My favorite thing is my plants with Russian names. I got my first plant with about, I think I was like 6 or 8 years old. And because of a content creator I was watching at the time who also called their plant that way, I called my plant Dimitri. And ever since then, every single one of my plants except for one, that one didn't really survive that long, had a Russian name. My first plant is still Dimitri. He's somehow still alive, but I'm very proud of him. Then Stanislav and Michael. Apparently that's a Russian name too. So yeah, those are my children basically. So I thought it would maybe be a good idea to acknowledge some hidden gems, some games that I think are underrated. So obviously for the next few devlogs I don't need to introduce myself every time, but this is a segment I thought I could do multiple times. So yeah. So the first game is Consume Me. It released on Steam like a few months ago, I think. And it's a game that basically revolves around this girl you play as, and she struggles with all kinds of problems over multiple years, and you, the player, get to overcome them as her. And at the end you find out that it's based on a true story, and you see like real pictures of real people you have just spent multiple hours talking to in the game, and it's a really well-made game and a really cute game, so you should definitely go check it out. And I really hope that someday it gets the attention it deserves. So it's called Consume Me by
Jenny Jausia, AP Thompson, Jian Lee, Violet WP, Ken Coder Snyder.
I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. The next game is called Control, I'm Not Coming Back. It's a very short, like 45-minute long, story-driven game with some hopecore aspects in it. And it's actually completely for free. So go check it out. It's Control, I'm Not Coming Back by Disboard Games. And the last game for this segment is Pick a Ball by Nicholas. It's just really addicting. And then you have like an aquarium with fishes that give you like multipliers and boosts and whatever. It's just a really cute and addicting game, which I think deserves a lot of attention. So Pick a Ball by Nicholas. So now that I finished the introduction finally, let's get to the first week of development. So a small disclaimer, I won't actually show the game this week because it looks terrible. But it actually feels pretty good to play so far. So let's just talk about the base. So on the first day, I basically didn't develop the game. Did no work. I did like chores, so I cleaned up my room and just sorted things out, just so I could properly work on this and not worry about which drawer my scissors go in or something like that. On the second day, I continued writing the concept for the game. And I'm going to show it on the screen but blurred, so you don't get spoiled for the story and the gameplay. In German, we say, if you really sharpened your ear, then you would have noticed I said continued writing the concept. That's because like a month ago, I already started writing the concept in a text file so that I just have my ideas written down somewhere, which is very important because, like I said, I have a lot of ideas. But the problem is, I have written down basically everything, but now it doesn't make sense at all because I just write down everything that's in my head. So on the third day, I just had to fix everything, like make it make sense because it didn't make sense at all. And then when I was done with that, I did some research, which game engine I should use and which games I should take inspiration from. Or like the different kinds of menus, like the inventory, and there's like an upgrade system too. And I even started a little bit making the base game on the third day. So on day 4, I made a lot of progress on the base game. Like I made movement and then inventory and text box and the menu and everything around it. And I also learned a bit of Blender. And you might be thinking, I thought you knew how Blender worked. Yeah, but there's always room for improvement. That's the whole point of life. I don't know, maybe. I haven't really thought about that. But yeah, so on the 5th day, which is today, I'm continuing making the game, like everything, like the base game. And I'm making this video. Hopefully it will release actually today because I'm going to cut this in Premiere Pro, and I'm not the best in Premiere Pro, but yeah, we'll see. So that was basically it for this week's devlog. I hope I will continue because I have a habit of starting like an idea, thinking, oh my gosh, this is the best idea ever, and then never finishing it. I'm hoping making these devlogs and posting them and maybe actually getting a small community or something will like pressure me into actually making the game, like actually this time. Like you couldn't actually believe how many games I started making and then just didn't continue making them because I got another idea or something got in the way and I don't know, I just didn't continue. So I'm hoping this will pressure me. So if you would like to see more, get more updates, I would appreciate it very, very much if you would subscribe and maybe even like and maybe even comment. I know there's nothing to comment on because I didn't show anything, but still, next week, hopefully I can show you something I'm proud of. So, yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, guys. This is it. This is it. Okay? Bye!